and I do want to say this too is that I do like when I also kind of think about the segue back a little bit into the content game, right? Like you're very intentional in your comedic style, right? It's very relatable to the average Joe, but also socially conscious at the same time. So I know that there was an event that you participated in a couple of years ago, or I'd say was it, yeah, I think it was a couple of years ago, back in October, where it was a situation where you were invited to, and I think that was one of the festivals, um, when they were, I'm trying to make sure I explain this correctly. So there are politicians apologizing, people apologizing for their behaviors and what their contributions to racism in society, which
Oh
I find
wow, he
out was very,
apologized.
yeah, apologizing and getting their sentiments, which I find it very interesting. But
Yeah.
the artists, kind of taking that and using that into their material. So in their comedic stance and their
Huh.
artistic views, I found that
Hmm.
very interesting. So can you talk through a little bit with that with us?
If the event, if I, if what I'm thinking, if I'm remembering what you're talking about correctly, it was
Yeah, we
like
want
this.
to know
Was
about
it?
this.
Was it in Madison?
It was in Madison. It was here in Madison.
Was it that museum event about
Yep,
like the
that
race
museum
and the
event.
white people
Yep.
like doing like writing the stuff down about what they do about racism and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was a weird one. I got hit up at a museum. I guess there was there was a it was a rush for black repentance. So all the white people wanted to show off they
Not repentance.
Man, the marketing game was crazy on that.
What?
You best to strap yourself next to a black if you wanted to keep getting these marketing dollars.
Yeah.
Everybody was pulling their blacks out the woodworks, getting them millions. So
Yeah, they were.
yeah,
They were.
that trickled on down to me, and the museum, and they gave me a little
Yeah.
piece because I'm one of the few people. I'm one of the like what 3 or 4 black comics in
Mm-hmm.
well 2 in Madison.
Yep.
Me and shout out to Antoine McNeil, but if you stretch out to Milwaukee, you got a couple more. Eric Smith, Ty Johnson. But yeah, so they hit me up and they asked me to do this event and I go through there, whatever. They was paying pretty decent. They wanted me to do like a long hour a comedy or whatever. So I had to like put that together. But anyways, yeah. And it was
That
just
is
funny because
hilarious.
I don't remember like everybody else's what they were saying or the jokes, but I know I just had one where they was what one of those exercises was these yellow ribbons and this like strip of paper, like one of the displays was a long strip of board or whatever, and not even like a board, but like a line. So the ribbons would be on a line so you could pick up the ribbons and read them as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
So what they encourage white people to do, random white people on the streets as they walking in, and I don't know why they expect the seriousness and with, college downtown Madison, Wisconsin, but they encourage white people to get a marker and write on these blank yellow ribbons what they would do for racism, and to stop racism and to like help like get eradicate this terrible thing, right? That they didn't know existed until, the unfortunate death of George Floyd, rest in peace.
I'm sorry.
That's
This is jacked up, though. It's jacked up.
that's when they was like, oh shit, it's bad for them out there. Can you believe it? So I don't know how that happened, but so now you got a bunch of white people writing a bunch of stuff on ribbons, and I'm walking through and I'm looking at a few of them, and one of them that I read just said something like staying inside, but like one thing I can do to help is like stay inside or whatever. And I'm like, so you that racist, you can't help your racism so much that you like, well, if y'all gonna be outside, I'm gonna just stay
Say
inside.
this.
That's the
I
only
was like,
thing.
who the
That's the
hell
only
does
thing I
that?
can do to stop this racism. Like, I gotta stay away from y'all. Like, and
I'm
it was
just gonna
just
stay inside. I'm locking the door.
it's just wow. It
Yeah,
was a
my
bunch
racist
just
views to
other
stay
wild
in the
stuff.
house.
I wish I could remember more, but that was just one of the ones that stood out to me the most. Is that you know what it really was? What it really was verbatim. I remember now. Verbatim, her words on the thing was, "Out of fear, I'll just stay inside." That's what she said. Like,
That's even
to
more
Oh,
stop
jacked up.
racism, like in the world, out of fear that I guess I don't know what she was trying to say. She'll just stay inside or whatever. I'm like, what did you? Yeah, is you scared you gonna be racist, or are you scared
wow. Right.
I
we
Are
mean,
you
gonna do
scared of us?
something?
Right,
Yeah,
like who you really scared of? Because
yeah.
it was very interesting. Like I didn't go to that, but it was just kind of like that's weird. But I'm just gonna go with whatever they talked
Hey,
about at this point. But it was weird.
it's it's one of those things where white people be trying to help, and we
yeah,
all know what it is. Like white people
Yeah.
do everything to try to help except help.
Yep.
Like they'll
Hmm.
do everything about like police or saying it or doing stupid stuff like that, little dumb
yeah, yeah,
exercises, but they
yeah.
won't just sign a fucking police reform bill. They won't just do
Correct.
that. They won't just take
Yeah.
away fucking immediate immune. What is it? Not immunization. That's medical stuff. Don't give me
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
but
Oh,
you
you
know
mean
everything.
decriminalizing marijuana? Is
Yeah,
that what
but
you?
no,
Yeah,
no.
that.
When the
Oh, that.
police do something, group immunity or something with it, with all the crimes, whenever they do
Oh,
something, I'm in
Oh,
danger,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah,
get
yeah,
away.
yeah.
Like
it,
they won't get rid of that, but they will like let you know, hey, we got this black event that we throwing for y'all, man, just to let y'all know that
mhm.
we okay with some black people.
Yeah.
Like,
Come hang
yeah, so
out. Come
it
hang
was just
out.
one of those, yeah. It was one of those exercises, one of those events or whatever. But they paid me way too
Wow.
much money that I should have got paid to do comedy at that point in time. So I wasn't gonna not take their money.
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, but my thing is also to kind of help you to see is these are people that you want to work with in the future, or if this
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
you kind of see what you're working with if you were to
Yeah,
work with them in the future.
yeah,
Because during that time, I think every company or seems to be was on the bandwagon about
yeah,
making sure Black Lives Matter, trying to stand and stand with us, but actually they're technically hurting the cause. I've seen a lot of that, or using
yeah.
some of us as
Because they're
tokens.
trying to monetize it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also trying to make it look like their companies are the best company to go to because we have this black person that says that we're okay. I was like,
Exactly.
I said,
or overcompensating, bringing
Mhm.
that white violence to our black race. They
That
was
part,
doing that too.
that
Being in
part.
the middle,
Hmm.
being in the midst with us and standing next to us in the
Mhm.
fights and then getting so riled up that they do something violent. And we all know
Hmm.
how that goes, right? It's like
Mhm.
domino effects. Domino
Correct.
effect. The violence
Absolutely.
is
It's
gonna ring
interesting
out. You can't
that
tell who defending themselves and who being violent now.
it's interesting that
Exactly.
you said that because when the riots happened downtown, I actually went down to help clean up. Because
Hmm.
one, they trying to make it look like it's us and like, no, 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 we care about the community just as anybody else. It's a lot of bad players that come here just doing shit.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of them who are here that's using this as an opportunity to do bad things. You have a lot of bad players
Correct.
here.
Yeah. Yep.
And so to me it
Yeah, I
was very
noticed that.
unfair how they put us all in that same category, but they'll burn down their shit for a football game or some type of, stupid shit that we don't even give a shit about.
Win or lose.
Right. They
Right,
will burn
right,
their shit
right,
down. But
right. Win or
we don't
lose,
even
they burning it down.
I said at least when we do stuff, we usually have purposes behind the things that we do.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah,
sense. You know?
yeah.
And we know that violence, and we know that from the dude on the block. What they, hey, keep it cool down here because we know you bring the violence and bring the heat, won't be no money. So we know that violence, you don't get no understanding with that. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's one of those. Yeah, it was one of those things. But that
So,
ain't gonna change nothing no time
so,
soon,
so,
unfortunately.
Craig,
I
I
shouldn't
got
be
a
so
question
cynical.
for you. So, I got a question for you. As a comedian, I know that with the controversy, that happened with Chris Rock and Will Smith, and they were
Mm,
saying some jokes should be off limits. Do you
mm.
feel like there's a line that you draw? Look, you smiling. Is there a line that you drawn in the sand? Say these are the type of jokes that I will not do, or is it
Um,
like everybody's fair game?
I would say this about that in particular. Me personally, I don't feel like sometimes my coping mechanism sometimes is laughter or a joke. So I can laugh at
Yeah,
something pretty soon or pretty quick as something happened or when something happened. So I wouldn't say necessarily that anything is off limits or you shouldn't joke about nothing just in general or at all. I will say this though. You have to take other people's sensitivities into consideration. So while
Mhm.
you might feel like no time or it's not too soon or whatever, this person might not feel that way. And if you really don't intend to harm with your jokes, or you really just
Mhm.
trying to have fun and not make fun, then you would not tell that joke, or at least if you got to get it out so bad, do it to yourself in the comments. Like you won't do it in front of that person. You don't need to
Right.
have the need
Right.
to go on stage and do it if you know somebody in the audience may get
Mhm.
offended or whatever. That type of
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, while I feel like it's a way to joke about everything. I don't feel like that you have to joke about everything, when you want to, when you around or when it's what can I like in a forcible way? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Right.
you gonna take this joke because I got the right to say. Like, you ain't got to do all of that. But
Mhm.
I'm never gonna tell that person that nah, they shouldn't make whatever type of joke about whatever they want to make it about. Just always know that there's consequences that come.
So with that being, I mean, he clearly got his ass whooped.
That
So
might
my
be your
question,
last joke.
right? I mean, you saw how he slapped
Just
the
playing.
shit out of him, didn't he? He slapped him like a
Hey,
nigga in the street. I'm like,
Yeah, I thought
yeah,
it was
wow,
some fire.
bro.
He struck fire from his face.
Right. I was
yeah.
like,
I
ooh.
do feel that though. Now that situation was an overreaction because if everybody remembers, he laughed first. Once
Hmm.
you
He
laugh,
did.
you
He
don't get
did.
to get mad no more. You deal
Exactly.
with your wife and your argument in the car. That's
There you
y'all
go.
relationship. You
There you go.
laugh first. I did my job. That was funny. I know it was funny because it made you laugh and then realize how funny it was. So you had to make up for that laugh. Nah. So nah, that's Chris Rock was all the way in the right. And yeah, whatever. Well, that's why they made Will Smith do that terrible slave movie.
I haven't even seen it. I ain't even
Me
seen it.
neither.
I didn't see
That
it
was
either.
terrible
But it
though.
looks like a joke.
It does.
It
It
does.
does. I
He's like, I'm
saw. I
trying to.
saw
It's
it. Look.
redemption. It's
Yeah.
redemption.
Right. Right. Right.
Hey,
Right. I looked at that. I was
Mary, it
like,
really was. It
ah.
really was redemption because years of saying I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to do that. No typical
Mhm.
black role. No slave role. The first time you got in trouble with that academy, the night
Mhm.
they give you that prestigious award y'all covered so much. Hey, boy, we dropping that slave movie.
Basically.
And it ain't even going to theaters. We throwing it on the streams. We just want to let them know we got you in line.
We got
Exactly.
you.
Finally. That's basically what that was the key that was the key right there.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I
Now
am
you get to do Bad Boys 4.
Wait, isn't his doesn't he has a suspension from the
Yeah.
from a suspension for what, 10 years or something
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah.
it's
That's what.
something like that, but that's why you doing
Yeah.
Bad Boys. You're not getting no Oscar for Bad Boys 4, you know?
Mm-mm. So yeah,
Slave
he
movie
kind
get buried, don't go to theaters, that don't qualify, so because it ain't gonna be big enough. Because that's probably a role that would have got it, but nah, that ain't gonna qualify. However long he on suspension, yeah, he ain't gonna get one for that long. But they'll
of.
let him back in because they let Roman Polanski back in. So
They might let him back in sooner than that. So if he's proven himself, but he's gonna have a lot of ass kissing until the day he die, honestly,
Man.
because people are not gonna let
Man.
that down.
Man.
But you answered my question actually of how if it was the best way for him. Like, do you think he was still responsible in his actions of responding to it? So you've already answered that question already.
yeah, now you do that in the back if you got to do that so much. Plus, I don't know. I hate to be so black, but I am. On the Black Knight,
Black as fuck.
like
But go ahead.
Yeah, like on the Black
It's
Knight, Questlove
fun.
there. Questlove did the show. I mean, Will Packer did the show. Questlove, I think, was next or whatever for the announcing the award or
Yes.
whatever he was doing. Chris
Mhm.
Rock hosting. It's all you getting your first Oscar. It's all this blackness here, and then you gotta fucking besmirch it with the black on black violence that they love to use against us so much. And you threw it right up on a stage with two of
Right.
the people that should not be engaging in no type of violence at all, let
Mhm.
alone black on black.
Exactly.
But
I mean, he literally looked at his wife after he left because he thought it was funny, but it wasn't funny to his wife. And I get for his wife, but there is a better way of doing that. Like, I would have whooped his ass backstage in his dressing room, and then who's gonna say anything? It's $1 billion back there in the dressing room, just like how it was with with Beyonce and
yeah,
Jay-Z on the elevator. So it's just like
yeah.
there could have been a better way of handling that because now
Yeah.
his
Absolutely.
career is really it's it went to shits.
But I don't know, man. It's like, when us as black folks, how much is enough? If I had Will Smith money
Mm-hmm.
and something went down, I'd be like, "Oh, you motherfuckers, kiss my ass. I'm going. I'm about to buy an island, bitch. I'm rich.
I
I'm,
mean, he could be smart about that. He could create his own
I'm
opportunities
still
outside of it.
young.
Yeah.
I'm almost at 1 billion.
Hmm.
I think because when we be looking at it, we like where we at in life. We look at that much money and be like, man, that'll be the shit. We'll be dope. And we don't account that when you got $100 million, you probably hanging around people with 500 million, 700 million, $1 billion. And now you live in a different life, playing a different game
Hmm.
because we playing survival games down here. When you ain't
Right,
got to
right,
survive
yeah,
no more, now
yeah,
you playing keep up with the whatever games.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why a lot of that money that they getting, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it because I want another 20 million film so I can make it 50 million a film or whatever. I want to invest in this so I can hit a Uber lit, a Google lit,
Hmm.
a ring bell lit, and make $60 million. I have to
ring
invest
bell
in
lit.
10 million.
uh,
Yeah, with some
ding
dude who
ding
just I
ding.
met. I was in a room, some dude I met at a party say, I got this thing going. Hey, I got $1 million. You put a
Make it
million
rain, make it
dollars.
rain.
Uber is fucking all over the place now. When you got 100 million off of your million, yeah, I want to be in the rooms to do that and keep growing. Plus, I got this yacht to buy to match with this dude yacht to make like. So it's so much stuff, so much of that goes on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you not even living this. I just want to, so I can use this 20 million and chill. Nah, that 20 million just got me to Calabasas house. And I still got the house in the midwest somewhere.
I'm
Like,
done.
nah,
Say
Right,
nah.
right.
Calabasas
I'm
house.
done.
Rolex to
That's
buy,
his house.
Lamborghinis, family to take care of. I got to keep getting this 20 million. So yeah, man, yeah.
Gotcha,
Why
gotcha.
they,
Oh my
that's why
god.
they, yeah. Will Smith is the brokest dude to somebody. If Will Smith walks in a room and somebody look at him like brokey, he ain't got no dollars. Like, look at him. What's that he pulled up in? Is that a 2023 Ferrari? What? He's still driving them? Like, they don't respect Will. I'm telling you, man.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
That
Oh
a
my god.
2023 Ferrari. That bitch old.
For
We
real,
on
man.
next year's model.
Like,
I'm
nigga, you
telling
ain't
you.
driving the best.
I'm telling you, man.
Oh my god. Oh my god. First and foremost, oh my god. Let me ask you a question. What are you doing for 2023? What are some of the upcoming projects that you want everybody to know?
Man, trying to do the most with this comedy. Like I said, I said this off camera. We was talking about working for yourself and stuff, but trying to make as much money as I make in a month doing comedy, so I can quit my job. Because that's pretty much like I said. If you making $2,500 a month and surviving, working for somebody else. And you could do something that you love to do and make 2,000, even 1,500 sometime a month.
Mhm.
Now, you cut back or whatever, but you do now doing something for yourself and there's potential in that they can grow and all that profit is you. And, you can start pursuing and living, at least start living life for yourself. So that's kind of like one of my goals or whatever for this year. And in doing that, it's just involving a lot more traveling, doing the same thing I did out here in Madison with the comedy and going to Austin, Texas for a week and, ingratiating myself in that open mic comedy community. Going to Cleveland, Ohio. I just found out my cousin living out there. Shout out to my cousin Kendall. He living out there, so I can go out there now and stay with him for a week. That's taking cost off of, Airbnb or hotel stay. And at nighttime, I'm hitting up open mics, getting in that community. Then going out to Denver, doing the same thing as comics that's moving out there. I can chill with them. So just utilizing all of these connections and networking and
Yep. Yep.
building out there
There we
and going to
go.
those
There we
cities
go.
and doing the same thing I did out here. And hopefully more will come of that. If I got so much or got so far out here doing that, I can do probably the same thing at least and get more connections and more people following and all of that type of stuff in different places. So that's pretty much my slight goal for 2023.
Okay, so you,
Mainly just like headlining somewhere at a comedy club or something. But yeah,
okay.
that's the long goal. So that's what my 2023 hope.
Long game.
The long game. But also in the meantime, you're still, hosting your longtime podcast with almost joking with your friend. And I'm sorry, I didn't even get your friend's name on here.
Queefs.
Queese, sorry, I do apologize. And then also your guest appearances on the Kill Tony podcast. That's awesome. And of course, you're always going to be doing open mics here in Madison and other
Yeah.
different events within
Grind, brother,
Wisconsin.
grind.
And I mean, seriously, grind hard.
Yeah.
And I actually love the fact that you talked about the networking piece, because beforehand we were talking about how entertainers are really bad with that. They're really bad with that. Effectively networking. So that's effective networking to its full potential right there. Um, I mean, I want to welcome you back to the show. You know, if you have any other events that are happening around town or nationally, you always welcome to come back to host the show or even be a guest host on the show too. So I would love to definitely welcome you back to the show.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Now that we introduced and everything, if y'all got like topics or something y'all talking about, y'all want to bring me back on, I'd love to do that. And we can just have one of those shows or whatever and like trip out on shit. So yeah, that'd be dope. I'm definitely down to do that.
Yeah, and in any show you got, just send us an email like, hey, I got this going on. So that way we can stay abreast of what you're doing and making sure that we're plastering out to our platforms as well. So tell the folks where they can follow you, your Instagram, your Facebook, email address if you want it out there. Let us all know.
Yeah. Well, email address. If you're trying to spend some money with me, you can get that from the DMs. But but Instagram, follow me. Sincere Life, regular spelling, SINCERELIFE, and also at Craig Smith Comedy, if that's easier to remember, and comedian Craig Smith on Facebook. And YouTube, if you comedian Craig Smith on YouTube, you'll find me if you go that in the search, but the official / is youtube.com/sincerelife7.
First off, y'all heard it from the man. Make sure you're following his YouTube, Facebook, subscribe, all of those jazz, because this man is funny. I've seen a lot of his clips on his YouTube channel, and it's hilarious. So I want to again thank you, comedian Craig Smith, aka Sincere Life, aka that nigga, and
that Southside.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, King. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.